No es tan malo como lo cuentan, by Edith Garcia. It's not as bad as they say. I'm not one for knowing cuentos, but this is my story and how a young woman found herself within the barrio. She grew up in a household of 6 with parents being undocumented. During her childhood years, she lived with fear of her parents becoming deported, the fear of living in an unsafe neighborhood, and hunger that arose as she struggled to focus in class. As a young adult, she felt she had no place to go until she volunteered for an organization called Centro Sabida. This is where she found her Oro del Barrio. Her Oro del Barrio is centered in the heart of a rural community in the South Valley. Many tell cuentos about the South Valley and how it is an awful place to live. Yet the so-called awful place taught her the skills needed to help those within her community attain goals and create a sense of belonging. It became a neighborhood where she was able to grow mentally, spiritually, and socially. For the second year in a row, New Mexico ranks number 1 for childhood hunger. Children living in poverty, 29%. Women in poverty, 23.1%. Single parents living in poverty, 42%. South Valley Hispanic or Latino, 54.1%. Number of Hispanic children living in families where no parent has full-time year-round employment, 118,000. As a result of the food insecurity, lack of access to affordable services, Centro Sabida was born. Centro Sabida is a behavioral health office that is focused on the healing and recovery of individuals, families, and communities suffering from emotional and psychological distress, addressing mental health, food security, advocacy for health and immigration, along with having a staff culturally aware and bilingual. No one is denied services of their ability to pay.
I think that one of the things that I see among Hispanic, Latino, one of the things that we have in common is the respect among elders. You know, you're not supposed to raise your voice, you're supposed to say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And then the other thing that I saw that in the mornings, you know, depending on morning, evening, or noon, you would always say, you know, you're walking on the street and you say good morning, good afternoon, buenas noches, buenos días, buenas tardes. You know, we always have that respect. Even though we did not knew the community members, you were somebody that I've never met, you always were respectful in that manner.
And working in the South Valley, what made you decide to work in the South Valley, and how is it different working in a community center and a behavioral health office focused in the community?
Well, regardless of where I have worked, I mean, there's always the need of our community. But the difference in the South Valley, again, you feel like you're welcome. You feel like you belong in the community. Nobody makes assumptions about you or who we are. You know, people have assumption about the South Valley being bad, just like the international district that they call the war zone. I mean, I've been privileged to live in both sides. And I mean, I've never had any trouble at either or place. You know, people treated me with respect. People are always helping each other. We have our neighbors that, just like we do in other countries, like I remember when I lived to visit Mexico, you know, you always have your neighbor and you always say, you know what, I ran out of an egg, can I have one? And sure, we share the foods, we share, you know, we're always welcoming. We always, if you don't have, I can give. And if I don't have, they can give to me. So I think that that's one of the things that I see here in the South Valley that a lot of people don't see, that we help each other and we support each other.
Individuals who were once strangers became acquaintances and part of our familia within the organization. Every patient or client interacted with us, and this is where Resolana began. As Thomas Atencio describes, the Resolana is a place where the sun strikes and reflects off a wall, creating a place of warmth, light, and tranquility. The Resolanas caused a feeling of comfort within our community members, which helped with the healing process. Our logo is the aloe vera plant, and in Spanish, aloe vera. This plant has been known to have healing abilities. It survives in the toughest weathers and lives on very little water, yet it holds within it the ability to heal. As is our motto with our patients, many have suffered much trauma, and yet each individual has it within them the ability to heal. We just help guide them through the process. We cannot seek achievement for ourselves and forget about progress and prosperity for our community. Our ambitions must be broad enough to include the aspirations and needs of others for their sakes and for our own, Cesar Chavez.
Manguero pinta selva, tierra, Urumanya y Quisimanjay, azul, cielo celeste, azul.